Well, of course, I met Midge then as well. He'd start asking about Ultravox, and I wouldn't answer at that time. I was really screwed up about it, you know. It was like, oh, don't talk about it, you know, because it was heavy, you know.
So when so that whole period, do you think Ireland dropped you purely because John left, or what was that?
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was they dropped us because we didn't get in the top 40.
And why do you think John left?
Because he blamed us. I don't know. I actually cancelled that, really. I'm just being a laugh. Yeah. It's a laugh. I haven't got a bloody clue. It was a hard, bitter pill to swallow, you know, because it was difficult for us. I mean, I realised all sorts of things then. I was gaining experience fast, and I realised for the guy whose band it was to get slagged off good and proper because we were a perfect target. You know, like our first thing, they accused us of being, it was heavy going for John. He took it quite personal. Well, I just think he'd had enough. He wanted to, you know, when you get things like ultra hype, and you can do a lot of things with ultra, can't you? You know, ultra crap, you know. I think he just wanted to get the baggage off, and probably, I don't really know. I think he was wanting to do something. I think he realised that the areas that we were covering weren't actually sharp enough for that particular moment in time. And I think he was probably foreseeing what was going to happen with the likes of Depeche Mode and Human League, them doing something extreme, i.e. actually dare to not have a band without a guitar in, or not to have real drums, you know. I think he was thinking more like that because he'd probably been thinking like that. Every time we did things like Hiroshima Mon Amour, which was dead simple, keyboards and a drum machine, we did it in like an afternoon. He came in just like this, did it in a few hours. You could see he was much more excited with technology stuff, so he went in that direction.
Sure.
I was still quite into a band. I would still like to pursue these areas of drums because I like drums. I just didn't see that you had to kick, just because the drum machine came along, I didn't see why you'd have to get rid of the drums, you know.
Sure.
Big mistake. Joking.
What about, you said a minute ago, it was, you know, Ultravox, you know, they were John's band.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Why did you keep why did the name Ultravox survive?
Why did we keep it? Well, I think because I'd had such a big part in creating the music it was, and I felt that that music, the identity we'd created, with me and the other two guys, Chris Cross and Warren Cann, could carry on. So, you know, simple as that.
And after that,
God, I haven't answered that one for a while. No, it really did feel like it was our thing, and it was fine too. I think at the time, you know, to be brutally honest, I may have had a few pangs of like, should or shouldn't I? But I think by the time I'd cleared the air and done something different, like done half of the Visage album in 1979, by the time we got together with Midge in August of that year, it seemed okay too, you know. We still had a lot of legal problems hanging around us. I mean, I had a few. There's dreadful things that musicians get, you know. But it was okay to use Ultravox.
So how did the, I'm just jumping around a little bit, but tell us a little bit about those days, so I guess, you know, 78, 79, you were moving around a lot, different bands, you know, Tube Army, Visage, just run through, you know, just researching it, but it was hard work working out where you were, when
I was up to, yeah. Well, I mean, really from that point, things started to happen. Like I said, we went to the States, but that was a bit depressing. Brilliant, but depressing because it was quite tense between us there, you know, John and the band. So we knew we were all going to, when we came back. But things started happening for me straight away. This talk about getting Visage together. I auditioned. It was a case of like, come on, get off your backside, you know, you've got to get something going now, you know. I auditioned for a couple of bands. Who was that guy who's done the football anthem? The guy that has a lot of...
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah, I was going to do a band with him. And, you know, I mean, it was just as a lot, Lightning Seeds.
Yeah.
And Ian Brody, I mean, to think about it now, you know.
What was his band called again?
Lightning Seeds,
yeah,
now. I was going to join a band with him with the original Mirrors, which was a guy from Deaf School as well. And so I got around a bit. I just didn't do Visage. And I also was going to do an audition for this Punk Poet. Oh, I can't bloody remember now. So it was a case of, come on, you know, I was going for it. And but it was funny with the Ian Brodie thing. He said, look, we've got this piece like this. And I'm going, oh, that sounds familiar. It's Quiet Man, you know. No. It was like just exactly like one of ours. Oh, so I'm not. Sounds like I'm being a bit of a so-and-so here, but it was like, hang on a minute, people are actually on to what we were doing. So it was a bit like that. Yeah, what happened? Yeah, I remember going to Scene Magazine at Drury Lane, and a very shy Gary Newman came up and introduced himself to me, and said, "Would you be up for doing this tour with me?" You know, and yeah, I went to do some